Okay, we are ready to go on YouTube.
Shall I start sharing?
Yes.
Can we see the screen?
Yes. Make it full screen.
Yeah. Okay. Good evening, everyone. It is said that the principal mark of genius is not perfection, but originality, the opening of new frontiers. And we are immensely grateful, rather indebted, to the genius of Dr. Subhash Mukherjee that he has opened up a whole new field for us. We wouldn't be in this wonderful creative field of IVF without him. It's a momentous day for us today at Academy of Clinical Embryologists. A sad as well as a happy day. A sad day because it is we are paying a humble tribute to Dr. Subhash Mukherjee on his death anniversary, but at the same time, we are celebrating his creation, Ms. Kanupriya Agarwal. So we'll be having a brief idea about the life and times of Dr. Subhash Mukherjee, followed by a cordial tete-a-tete with his creation, Kanupriya. So at the outset, I would like to invite Dr. Parsuram Gopinath, Secretary of ACE and Senior Consultant and Scientific Director at SIMR, to offer his welcome address. Over to you, Dr. Parsuram. Do you want me to stop sharing? You are muted, Dr. Parsu.
Yeah. So good evening to one and all. Thank you, Dr. Bindu. It is indeed a privilege to welcome you all to this special edition of ACE Conversation, dedicated to remembering the legacy of Dr. Subhash Mukherjee, a true pioneer of IVF. Today's session is not just a tribute. I would say it is a reflection of resilience of science and human spirit. And what can we ask for more than actually having Kanupriya Agarwal, India's first test tube baby, stands as a living testament to Dr. Mukherjee's visionary work. I also humbly welcome Dr. Shabani Mukherjee, who will be taking us through a summary of his work, and also welcome Dr. Rajvi Mehta, our treasurer, who will be in conversation with Kanupriya Agarwal, and also welcome Dr. Manisha, who's the coordinator for this whole program, and our compare, Dr. Bindu Chimote. So looking forward to a very interesting session, and over to you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Dear friends, it is said, no great thing is created suddenly. True. How true? The field of human IVF, especially in India, has been a long and winding one, with testing times, several setbacks, and moments of despair. Well, the moments of despair were followed by the great triumph when history was created in India by an Indian, and we had the lovely little baby, the miracle baby, Miss Kanupriya Agarwal, born on the first day of Navratra, and hence also called Durga, symbolically. So, to know more about the trials and tribulations, the despair and the triumph, we have with us today Dr. Shabani Mukherjee, who will throw light on the times of Dr. Subhash Mukherjee, his life journey. Dr. Shabani is a scientist at ICMR, National Institute for Reproductive and Child Health, Mumbai. Her research interests include in reproductive biology, ovarian physiology, infertility, and PCOS. She has received many awards, including the Dr. T.C. Anand Kumar Gold Medal Award. She was awarded the Fellowship for Frontiers in Reproduction course at Marine Biological Laboratory. She has also been awarded the Lapshetwar Award from Indian Society for the Study of Reproduction. She has several publications to her credit, and it is an honor for us to have her amidst us today to give us a detailed journey of Dr. Subhash Mukherjee. Over to you, Dr. Shrabani. You are muted.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Bindu, for your kind introduction. And thanks to ACE for giving me this opportunity to share the work of Dr. Subhash Mukherjee with all of you. It is a very, his work is very close to our heart. So I will share my slides. Just a moment. So I think this is visible. Can you see my slides?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, but I can't see the slides which has been shared. Just a minute.
They are visible to us, ma'am.
Yes, yes. Thank you. So today I will talk about the diverse research contribution of Dr. Subhash Mukherjee. Just a minute. It is giving problem me to change the slide. Just a minute. The slides are
On
not
the slide.
changing.
Just click on the slide.
Okay. Full screen. Yes, thank you. Yeah. So on the 25th July 1978, the world was astonished with the news of the birth of the first test tube baby in London, which is a work of Dr. Robert Edward and Dr. Patrick Steptoe. Um, Louise Brown was born. She was born out of the natural cycles where laparoscopically they harvested the egg and they transferred the egg cell embryo to the mother. So initially, this group also faced several criticism. There was ethical issues, there was religious argument, but after that, everything was settled down, and they got overwhelmed recognition throughout the world, and they published several journals and received several awards. But only after 67 days after the birth of the just a minute, how to go back? Only 67 days after the birth of Louise Brown, the second IVF baby of the world, baby Durga, born in at Calcutta on 2nd October 1978, which is the work of Dr. Subhash Mukherjee. He is a genius doctor, was assisted by Professor and Dr. Sunit Mukherjee, who was a professor in the food technology, Jadavpur University, and he was expert in cryopreservation. And Dr. Sarajkanti Bhattacharya, who was the gynecologist. So Durga was born on the Bellevue nursing home, and she was the first test tube baby who born out of the frozen embryo. So she was a daughter of Mr. Prabhat and Mrs. Bela Agarwal, who was referred to Dr. Mukherjee by another doctor who was suffering from the primary infertility since 12 years. And when they came to Dr. Mukherjee, he told that I'm trying some new experiment where there is a chance you may get a baby, but she or he may not be normal. But still, the Agarwal couple, they agreed, yes, we want a baby. In which way we get it? In the meantime, Dr. Subhash Mukherjee, who was in the medical college in Calcutta, he was transferred to the Bakura Medical College, which is 172 kilometers away from Kolkata. But he still continued to work on IVF. Every weekend, he used to come to Calcutta and used to treat Mrs. Bela Agarwal. And the whole experiment he performed in his own apartment with the very simple instruments like incubator, refrigerator, in a very low cost manner, which resulted in the second test tube baby of the world. So his work was much more innovative than the London counterpart. He first used the controlled ovarian hyperstimulation to increase the number of the ovum by using HMG, because he knew that if there is a chance to get more number of ovum, there is a chance of pregnancy, implantation and pregnancy. He used transvaginal approach to pick up the ovum by making small incision in the posterior wall of the vagina, because at that time laparoscope was not available in India. He fertilized the oocyte in the glass petri dish, then performed cryopreservation of the human embryo with the help of Professor Sunit Mukherjee. And they use the alcohol water bath by using alcohol in the mixing alcohol in the dry ice, and they standardized this freezing experiment before that. And they used DMSO to preserve the embryo. After preserving, they successfully thawed that frozen embryo and transferred the embryo in the subsequent untreated natural cycle, which increases the chance of pregnancy, because he has a profound knowledge of endocrinology, and he knew that if he transferred the embryo in the same stimulated cycle, then there is a chance of miscarriage. So that's why he transferred the embryo in the subsequent cycle. So today, this is the preferred method of freezing the embryo and transferring the embryo in the subsequent cycle. The whole world use this method mainly. So now, going through the little background of the Dr. Subhash Mukherjee, he born in 16th January in 1931 in Hazaribagh, in the maternal grandfather's place. His father was a radiologist. He completed his BSc honors in physiology in 1949 from the Presidency College, completed her MBBS in 1954. Then in 1958, he secured his first PhD from the Calcutta University. He worked under Dr. Sachidananda Bandyopadhyay. 1966, he got married to Namita Banerjee, and 61 to 63, he went to Edinburgh on the Colombo Fellowship. There, he worked with extensively on the gonadotropin. After completion of his PhD, he worked as a research associate and visiting lecturer at the Edinburgh University till 1967. Returned India on 1967 and worked as a lecturer, reader, and professor of physiology in different medical colleges of Calcutta. So, after the birth of baby Durga, there was the news were published in different newspapers, magazines, and even there was a interview in the TV. But their happiness were very short-lived, because the fellow clinicians, they didn't believe their work, and there was also harassment from the government. Government didn't allow him to share his work, publish his work with any of the international scientific community. That's why people hardly knows his work. Government set up an inquiry committee where they have radiologists, gynecologists, physiologists, nuclear physicists, etc. 6 committee member, but no one was expert in the advanced reproductive technique to understand his work. So ultimately, the committee said that his claim is not true. And after that, his heart was broken. He faced social ostracism, then bureaucratic negligence, insult from different front. And and mainly the government of India, mainly the health department of West Bengal, didn't allow him to do any further research, and he was very upset. He was transferred to a ophthalmology department where he realized that he will not able to do any research over there, and ultimately on 19th June 1981 he committed suicide. And he wrote a note that I can't wait for a death by heart attack every day. So today is the 44th death anniversary of Dr. Subhash Mukherjee. So after the birth of baby Durga in 1986, 6th August, the second IVF baby, or scientifically first documented IVF baby of India, that is baby Harsha, born in Mumbai, which is a project which was spearheaded by Dr. T.C. Anand Kumar, who was the that time director of IRR, Institute of Research in Reproduction, which is my institution, which is renamed now as National Institute for Research in Reproductive Health, and Dr. Indira Hinduja, who was the gynecologist from the KM Hospital, which is just across the road, and baby Harsha born. And this event got lot of publicity. There was lot of publication here and there. They were honored here and there. And this also generated hope in the heart of many infertile couple to get a baby of their own. So after death of Dr. Subhash Mukherjee, his wife, Mrs. Namita Mukherjee, and his great friend, Professor Sunit Mukherjee, together set up the Dr. Subhash Mukherjee Memorial Reproductive Biology Research Center at Behala with the help of Indian Cryogenic Society, where Dr. Sunit Mukherjee was a member. And every year they used to organize Dr. Subhash Mukherjee memorial orations. So they invited Dr. T.C. Anand Kumar, and who delivered a talk in 1996. At that time, Dr. Sunit Mukherjee requested Dr. T.C. Anand Kumar to go through the notes and diary of Dr. Subhash Mukherjee, where he noted all his work about his IVF experiments. So after going through all the notes, then Dr. T.C. Anand Kumar realized that yes, he is not the first one. Actually, Dr. Subhash Mukherjee is the first one who created the India's first IVF baby and the world's first frozen IVF baby from the frozen embryo. So he was brave enough and he was very generous to give his own crown to Dr. Subhash Mukherjee. And in 1997, he published the paper in Current Science elucidating the life and detailed work of Dr. Subhash Mukherjee. So after his persuasion in 2002, ICMR first recognized Dr. Subhash Mukherjee's work and given him the proper recognition. So this is the few photographs of Dr. Subhash Mukherjee with Nomita Mukherjee and Subhash Mukherjee in Calcutta, Subhash Mukherjee in the Bakura Saminali Medical College. Some more photographs in a seminar in International Congress of Hormonal Steroids and with dear friend Dr. Sunit Mukherjee. So, apart from IVF, we know Dr. Subhash Mukherjee because of his great contribution in the IVF, but he was a very outstanding clinician scientist. He worked extensively on the reproductive endocrinology. He was a very good surgeon, and he was a very thorough knowledge about the anatomy, surgery, and endocrinology. So, during his first PhD, he worked in Calcutta University, where he worked on the biochemical changes in normal and abnormal pregnancy, like pre-eclamptic toxemia, where he observed that the glutathione and ascorbic acid levels were reduced in this woman, and dehydroascorbic acid levels increase. So he hypothesized that decrease in the reduced glutathione due to interaction with some toxins. And today we know that these toxins are the reactive oxygen species, because due to altered metabolic and increased inflammation, the reduced glutathione reacts with the ROS, and then it levels reduces. During his Colombo Fellowship in Edinburgh, he worked under Dr. John Lauren, who was renowned reproductive physiologist, and there he developed a very sensitive assay method for gonadotropin, the LH assay method, using the ovarian cholesterol depletion test, using rat ovaries which is pre-treated with HCG and PMSG. And earlier, the LH assay was used to do by using the ovarian ascorbic acid depletion method, which is not sensitive and it's a very cumbersome method. He also worked on the origin of HCG. He purified and characterized the human HCGs. He helped Dr. Purnendu Gupta, who was the MD of the Oregon, India, which is a company which we all know that they supplies HCG. He used to help them to test the bioactivity of the HCG, which they used to derive from the urine of the pregnant woman. He also induced ovulation by using PMSG and HCG and rat and human. And because of this vast knowledge, he used the same technique while doing the IVF. He has also done. He was also interested in the male infertility, and he used testosterone and HCG to treat the hypogonadotrophic hypogonadism, which he observed that it can induce the spermatogenesis and steroidogenesis. And he also worked intensively on the cases of reproductive abnormality, especially the hermaphrodite, then bisexual, transsexual cases. He worked also testicular feminization. He used to get several patients, several other doctors used to refer these cases to him, as he was very interested to work on them. And then he published paper on testicular feminization syndrome in Journal of Obstetric and Gynecology, India. As I mentioned, he was a very intense research worker. In his department of physiology, he also ignited many young minds to take up research during their MD, and also encouraged to do PhD. He realized that because it is not possible to do experiment on human, there is a need to develop the experimental animal model. For that, in the ground floor of the flat where he used to stay in the NRS hospital, there was an empty flat where he made an animal house with mice, rabbit, and monkey, and he used to spend most of his spare time in the animal house to do research on them. So in that time, that era, he realized that the female infertility can be treated with use of the male hormone. So he studied the effect of testosterone and DHEA on the rat, and observed that there is a luteotropic and eutropic effect, which increase the both of the weight of the uterus and the ovary, increases the protein synthesis, and also improves the fertility of the rat. He used DHEA treatment to increase the number of the follicle in the PMSG treated rat. And nowadays we know DHEA is widely used as an adjuvant IVF cycles in the poor ovarian reserve cases to improve the quality and the number of the egg. He treated women with luteal phase insufficiency with testosterone, which resulted in the pregnancy. In contrast to treating infertility, he also worked on contraception to reduce the population. So nowadays we know PCO is one of the major endocrine disorder, not only in not only in the reproductive age group woman, but also in a very young woman. So it has several clinical manifestation, and it has like infertility, menstrual abnormalities, hypersecretion of androgen, insulin, dyslipidemia, and it increases the risk of the metabolic syndrome. Dr. Subhash Mukherjee worked on polycystic ovary syndrome. He used to get several cases of PCOS, and he was very meticulous. We have seen his handwritten notes where he used to write a very detailed clinical history. And he realized that the women who develop PCOS, they have undergone chronic stress in some point of life. So he hypothesized that the emotional stress is related to female infertility, that is the PCOS, and he presented his work on International Congress of Physiological Society in 1977 in Paris. He suggested that stress induced activates the hypothalamus adrenal axis, which releases the increased release of the ACTH, then cortisol, DHEA, androstenedione, which induces hyperandrogenemia. And nowadays, it has been recognized, maybe in last 10 years, that stress is very closely related to the development of the PCOS, and DHEA has been reported to be associated with depression and emotional stress. In that time, he also developed a model of PCOS by prenatal androgenization of rat, which were infertile, and he observed that unilateral oophorectomy restored the fertility of this woman. So he carried out the bilateral wedge resection in the women with PCOS, which restored the gonadotropin and steroid hormonal levels, and their cycle became normal, and many of them became fertile. So this is his handwritten notes on stress. Here I have put 3. There are many more handwritten notes of stress and PCOS. So apart from that, as I mentioned, that he has knowledge in diverse fields of science. In 1971, during the Bangladesh war, many refugees came into the India, and there was lack of nutritional food, so they were malnourished. So Dr. Mukherjee provided fish protein concentrate containing the sea fish from the Norway, which has 80% of the protein, and he carried out a clinical trial how to provide this fish protein concentrate, because it has a very intense smell, in different form to the people, which is acceptable, and this way he helped to reduce the malnutrition. Even after the Bangladesh war, he suggested the Bangladesh government to use this fish protein concentrate to combat the malnutrition in their country, and he published 2 papers on this. And he was a very good surgeon, and actually in the Marine Product Export Development Authority in Calcutta, they used to export frozen frog legs to China, but due to the salmonella contamination, several of the consignment were refused to go. Because of he has a very good knowledge about surgery, he developed a method to dissect the frog leg without cutting the intestine to reduce the contamination, and he patented this technique. And after this, the problem of this MPDA was resolved. So I will take 1 more minute to talk about Dr. Sunit Mukherjee, who was really the great friend and great supporter of Dr. Subhash Mukherjee. After his death, he fought with all the possible avenue to give the glory to Dr. Subhash Mukherjee. He worked continuously with Mrs. Nomita Mukherjee in all aspects, not from only establishing the Subhash Mukherjee Memorial Center, but he fought with all the authorities to give him the glory. Even when Mrs. Nomita Mukherjee was sick and she was bedridden for several years, when no family members were around to take care of her, Dr. Sunit Mukherjee took care of him, and he preserved all the documents, diary, photographs, everything of Subhash Mukherjee in this. You can see in the photograph, this is a Subhash Mukherjee Memorial Reproductive Research Center. And once he met Dr. Rajvi, and means he expressed that somebody should take care of all this precious item because this is of national treasure and it should be preserved as a history of IVF. So myself and Dr. Rajvi, we took up a project on INSA and we collected all the documents which are with us now. And these are few photographs of Dr. Sunit Mukherjee. And we prepared a booklet on Dr. Subhash Mukherjee, which was launched on 20th February on 2020. During our Golden Jubilee celebration of ICMR NIRCH, where our Honorable Union Minister of Health and Family Welfare and Science and Technology, Dr. Harshvardhan, and our DG, Dr. Balaram Bhargava, inaugurated this book. And it is available at our institute website. I request all of you, please go through the book. And this is a figure drawn by Dr. Subhash Mukherjee. He was a prolific writer and also he used to write poem, he used to sketch. And he has drawn this Madonna, which is depict mother and child along with the hypothalamus gonadal axis. So thank you, and that's all. So that's all. If there is any question, I can take that. So I will stop sharing my slides.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shrabani, for that very detailed, well-researched presentation on Dr. Subhash Mukherjee. As we can clearly see, it is not just about producing the first IVF baby out of a frozen embryo. We see a series of firsts to his credit. It is, he was not an accidental genius. He was a truly well-rounded genius, and his inclinations were right from surgery, physiology, anatomy, male infertility, endocrinology, reproductive biology, nutrition, whatnot. I mean, what a genius to know about here, and you threw such beautiful light on his works. And it was maybe a transportation for us back in time to see the kind of experiments that he performed and the beautiful handwritten notes that you showed here in your slides as well. So thank you so much, Dr. Shrabani. And I must say, we should also thank Dr. T.C. Anand Kumar and Dr. Sunit Mukherjee because it is not easy for someone who is there on the higher pedestal, on the throne, to just come down and say that, no, I don't deserve this, it is someone else. So it is because of the humility of these two great scientists, and that is what great scientists are all about. You have to be humble and understand how much someone else has done greater work than you have done. So thank you so much, Dr. Shrabani, for this wonderful presentation. And I'm sure we would like to read more now after your lecture today. Thank you so much. And now moving on to the next session, when Dr. Rajvi told me that we'll be having a conversation with Kanupriya, I said I would be needing some CV about Dr. Kanupriya. And she told me a very interesting thing. What she said was that Kanupriya says that why would you want to talk about me? When there is Edison, why talk about the bulb? Can you all see the slide?
No.
No? Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry. Now? Can you see
No.
the slide?
No.
Shall I start
Yes.
sharing again now?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
now
yes.
Okay.
now we can.
So she said, why talk about the bulb? Talk about Edison. Kanupriya, that is really very kind of you to say that. But for us, probably, since we lost Dr. Subhash Mukherjee without really glorifying his achievements in his time, it is through you that we live him and understand him better. So, in the creator resides within the creation, and you are that creation in which we try to see what Dr. Subhash Mukherjee was all about. So, he has left behind a legacy and a chain of events that this will be a never ending process. Till the time this legacy goes on, Dr. Subhash Mukherjee will live on. So don't shy away from being talked about, because it is the geniosity of Dr. Subhash Mukherjee that we are seeing in you. So now moving on. So we have Miss Kanupriya Agarwal here today. Obviously, as we all know, the first IVF baby born from a frozen embryo. She was born on the 3rd of October, 1978. And she has very vigorously petitioned for Bharat Ratna to be conferred on her creator, Dr. Subhash Mukherjee. She is a vocal advocate for infertility awareness. She has been a student of La Martineuse. She has done a MBA in human resources and PG in public relations. And she leads a quiet life in Mumbai with her husband and daughter. Kanupriya, please excuse me if there is something missing or wrong, because I tried to gather material from whatever I could. And last but not the least, she is an incredible and humble human being. She continues to inspire and offer hope to couples facing infertility. And in conversation with her, we have an equally dynamic person, Dr. Rajvi Mehta. She is one of the senior most clinical embryologists of the country. She has worked with the team responsible for India's first scientifically documented IVF baby of India. She is the most senior student and teacher of Iyengar Yoga, having learnt directly from Guru BKS Iyengar. And I must say, one similarity between the two of them is that both are incredible, humble human beings. And even Dr. Rajvi inspires us all, not only her students, but us all in this field. So over to you. Take the session forward, please, Dr. Rajvi.
Thank you, Bindu, for all the accolades. I do not know whether what is deserving or not, but we'll leave that aside. And welcome, Kanupriya, on behalf of our President, Dr. Sujata Ramakrishnan, our Vice President, Dr. Gaurav, and Dr. Parsuram already invited you, and our team of Dr. Manisha Nandan Patel. Before I start, I would just like to share a little picture. And this is the first time people saw to know who this Kanupriya was.
Yeah, I remember
Till
that.
then, there was some mysterious Durga reality. And here there was this young lady coming in a sari, coming for this meeting into Bangalore. And that's when she was introduced. And she just said it then, why are you talking about me? You talk about Edison and not the light bulb. And that hit me hard. I do not know whether, Kanupriya, you remember it. It was nearly many, many years ago when you were just 25. And that sort of made me think that, yes, we have somebody whom we should talk to. And I've met her many times before, and sometimes I do ask her that, don't you get bored of, being called to these meetings and people wanting you? And she would say, no, if it gives me an opportunity to get people to know about Dr. Subhash Mukherjee, I'm there. And so thank you, Kanupriya, on behalf of all of us at ACE for joining in here. So first, welcome. And now I'm going to go down to the start. And your life you're possibly one of the very few people whose birthdays, apart from Louis Brown, are celebrated across, especially all over India. It's a big thing. Everybody knows your birth date, all in the field of IVF. So now I'm going to ask you a very basic thing. When did you first realize that your origins were very unique? You are not one of the normal babies. So,
Okay, so first and foremost, thank you so much. I get such a warm, lovable space every time I meet so many doctors and really intelligent people. And I think through each one of these gatherings, I pick up a little bit. So thank you for keeping me in the scientific community. Also for keeping me in your hearts and minds. I think one of the reasons why my parents went through this was to experience the joy of having a child, and I hope I've done them justice. But I think for a scientific community to be able to do this and give so many couples this hope, even if the success rate is what it is, but that hope itself goes a very long way. So thank you for that. I think, Rajvi, I don't remember saying that, but I remember feeling that every day. That why celebrate the light bulb when when all the achievement is by some five other people. But yeah, I must have said that because I still feel that today as well. About how I found out and when I found out, I wish somebody had told my parents that it was something special, because they didn't treat me like that at all. And I think that's the beauty of it. It never came to me as a revelation, and to me it was a very normal thing to know that you were born in a different way. One, when you're 3 years old, you anyways don't know how you were born. So when somebody tells you that you were born because of this doctor and this is what happened, you think that's a normal process which everybody goes through. And then I think they gave me. So there were times when Papa did say that we could have been in a scientific community, being studied, etc., etc., which would have possibly led to my life being very different. Uh, I am blessed, I think, to be able to have grown up quite normally. Being punished, being applauded, both in equal measure. Uh, Being told that I was special was not because I was born that way. So I think it kept me honest, and I give that to my parents to, I think, not make it. It was a big deal for them, but to not transfer that big deal to me, I think kept me normal. Otherwise, I think I would have possibly had my head in the clouds, and which is not really good for anybody out here. So I think I knew whenever, since the time I was growing up, I was kept away from journalists. Every birthday had journalists coming to the house, coming to school, trying to get me, and my friends trying to. We used to play that they were my bodyguards and things like that. So it was fun. And I'm happy that I could take it like that. So I don't think there was a special day, and I'm quite grateful for that. And if there are parents or wannabe consultants who want to tell how to manage this situation when you get a child after so long, I think just let it flow. If it's treated special, it will become difficult.
so I think you may not remember, like I said, we did. One thing is that if we, as you grow up, and you would have realized that it was a big leap of faith because you are doing something where you're creating life outside, something never done before, and then freezing it again, never ever done before. It's a leap of faith for the doctor and for their parents to get into something like this. So, I mean, obviously, now that you would have had a chat with your parents, what if? However, you're confident, but the reality is always very stressful. So, anything on that? Your
I think I've said this before to somebody. I think the time at which they were doing this was both difficult and liberating in equal measure. I think the resources were limited. However, the faith that human beings had on other human beings without running to Google was, I think, a blessing. I think over information and our And I see that a little, and I can say that after 20 years, I wouldn't have said this when I was 25, but it's not a blessing. I think, over information is a bit of a curse. It's like I keep telling my team as well, I go for a cup of coffee and I need to choose between a cappuccino and a macchiato and a God knows what was. So I think simplicity, and I think going back to that has its advantages. So they didn't know better, if I can put it like that. They didn't have avenues to ask for other things. But I think that led to two, I think, fabulous things. One is openness between the parties involved. I think at no point either, my parents felt like they had to hide anything, nor did the doctor hide anything from them. Also, however, it led to trust and faith between them. And that was transparent. Uh, it didn't, he was transparent that I might completely fail. They were transparent that, if this were to happen, we are just happy with a child, and nothing more and nothing less. And I think that amongst human beings could go a long way in multiple spaces. So I think that faith, I think how to restore that between physicians and their patients, and for patients to have it and physicians to develop it rather. I think it didn't come out. They didn't know each other earlier, but I think to take that leap, and I think we do that even today when I go to a doctor, even it's for something else, it is leap of faith, right? That person will do this for me. Of course, they didn't realize that it was so big. They just wanted a child, and here was somebody willing to try. And I think that made it possible. I think, yeah, it worked. That he was a fantastic genius, but and a great human being at that, which made him do that. I think that combination always works. But yeah, I mean, to be so proud today is easy for me, but to be that, scared, they must have been scared at some point, both of them. But I think to not feel it, it was a big thing.
Yeah, because as we grow older, you realize what could have happened. We are fortunate.
Yeah,
So I think yes, they had the trust, and I think that's something which we often talk is diminishing. The trust
yeah.
and faith between the doctor and the patient. Now, you said your parents had great faith in Dr. Subhash Mukherjee. They possibly heard about him. What else have you heard about him from your parents, especially during the early stages of, the treatment? How long did it take?
Hmm.
How long was the stimulation? At that time, obviously, it was just some injections being given.
Hmm.
Getting the gonadotrophins, because that was one of the questions that was asked to Dr. Subhash Mukherjee. How did you get
Hmm.
the gonadotrophins? And I'm
Hmm.
sure over a period of time, your parents would not forget these memories. So if you have
Hmm.
heard about how did he go about it, and
So the two, three things that they tell us, and because they are not scientists themselves and not very well read in terms of scientific approaches and medical journals, etc. The two, three things which they say from a layman perspective, I would say, is that he always made them comfortable. So Mama and Papa were always there together. They were so he and a lot of the pieces happened in his flat as well. So being in a non-clinical space kind of made it a little warm, I would think. Uh, he was he used to constantly talk to them and tell them as he was doing something. While I don't think he expected them to understand it, but it kind of was reassuring. Uh, and then he would ask, if he would ask something, my mother would just turn around and say, "How am I supposed to know?" You know, like, you do what you think is right. He was also very careful, I think, with both Ma and Pa, to tell them that, if you're uncomfortable, let me know. There weren't too many rules. I remember, Rajvi, you asking me that did she have to lie down for 2 hours or 3 hours after they put me in? And she said, no, I have to just walk off. So she didn't remember lying down at any given point for 2 hours. So she said, no, I just had to walk away. I was just told to, once I conceived, once it was confirmed, then also he said to be active, but to not overexert, to not stop activity, but to, go through normal things. And if there was any little bit of, discomfort or pain or anything like that, then to reach out, but otherwise to, and he wanted her to be active. He said that you do not, to not be a bedridden person or to treat it too gently. Because as the growth of the embryo is possibly linked to that. I'm not sure. You all will know much better than me. But she did say that there was no restrictions as such, and she was going about her daily life as she would.
It's interesting because you've revealed something more than what we knew. We knew about the first to use gonadotrophins, the first to have a frozen embryo. But in those days, people would make the woman lie down, just get up to go to the toilet for 24 hours. And even when I started for years together, at least 3, 4 years, the women would lie down for 4 hours. And now we would laugh at it and find it quite ridiculous. And now, of course, with an ultrasound and abdominal, how are they going to with the
Yeah.
bladder? So it's also something which you reveal, which is common sense. So whatever he did was actually being followed much later. So even on all aspects. So how did you get to know about his work and how great he was, and about to know about him per se? Obviously you were no longer when he passed away. You were very little. You were possibly just 3 years old. So how did you get to know about him, and when did you first, have your interactions with Mrs. Namita and Sunit? For those who in this audience who don't know, Namita Mukherjee was Dr. Subhash Mukherjee's wife. She had nothing to do with science. She was a teacher of history. And Dr. Sunit Mukherjee, as Dr. Shrabani just said, was the food technologist who assisted him in cryobiology. And over to you, Kanupriya, to talk about
So,
these.
So Mrs. Mukherjee was always part of our life. From the time I can remember, we used to go to their homes, and she and Dr. Sunit Mukherjee used to visit our house quite often. Um, she was, I think, a very sweet lady. I've always only got love and smiles from her. A very soft spoken, a loving lady, and I think she had the patience of I don't know, a great statue. I think because she would gently, sweetly, just sit and I was apparently a very shy child. So I used to hide when she used to come home, and she used to patiently wait that it's okay, let her do what she's doing, and eventually I would possibly come in and steal the sweet that she got for me, or the little doll that she got for me, and just shyly say thank you, and she'd be like, oh, that's enough, it's okay, let her take her time. And I think at some point she spent an hour and a half just waiting for me to come out. So I think that showed that she really was, I think, the great spouse that he needed. Because I'm told, and she used to regale, when I was a little older, she used to tell me stories about how he'd leave her stranded in some bus station or some, in front of her, and forgotten all about. And there were no mobile phones in those days. There was no, Ubers and things like that. So he was possibly going to have to pick her up, or they both had to go somewhere. And she was so used to that, and she was so not judgmental. I think what I got from a lot of these people were being completely non-judgmental. Everybody was, living their lives, but together. So that was really nice. I think I only got to know about the scientific pieces once. So every year through the so Dr. Mukherjee, Dr. Shabani has just mentioned that how Dr. Sunit Mukherjee used to have these lectures, or have that center. So I used to go out there once I became 11, 12 maybe. I was curious as a person. So, and I love it when you all talk about these things, because for me it's new learning. And I used to do that. I used to go there, and he showed me that, oh, this is the place that you were frozen in, or this is, and they told it to me like a story. So it was very well received, and it was really nice for me to say, and then I used to make jokes about it with my mom every time I did something wrong. I still, that's the cost of pleasing me. So I think it became part and parcel of our conversations. And little by meeting you, Dr. Rajvi, by meeting a lot of other people in the community, and especially Dr. Anand Kumar, I think when he called me, my dad was a little skeptical that should we go, should we not, all of those things. And I had met Dr. Anand Kumar before that, during his talk in Calcutta, and then after that in Delhi as well. And I think I understood from him what responsibility I had towards this space. I don't think I would have got it. Dr. Sunit Mukherjee, my dad, everybody is very like, oh, you take it how you want to, and we don't know if you can. And they're not very good at expressing themselves, I think, either emotionally or, conversationally. And a lot of the science I got to know by, visiting some of these lectures, as well as later on now that I get, called for some of these spaces. It's quite interesting for me to see if there is a change from, the last year that I heard the same thing. So that's nice to look forward to. I also, so Dr. T.C. Anand Kumar took me through some of his notes in his house. So his house has his office. And I had the pleasure of meeting his wife and going up to that office, and him showing through that. Oh, let me show you how you were made, and that was nice, I think. And because I got comfortable with him, I could ask him a few non-medical questions in that sense, because I'm not a medical question. So I just asked, so how did you know? Why do you put in 3 eggs when one is enough? Those kind of things. And they were sweet enough, I think, to answer those questions. Those are very, I think, innocent questions, but maybe not. And a lot of the science I got to know because of that. I still don't know all of it, of course. So there are people who know that I'm the first STO baby and will call me up and say, "Oh, explain this to me." And I'm like, dude, wrong person. I was just the product, not the scientist. So I think, yeah, I mean, so it's interesting for me, yes, curiosity. I don't know if the test tube led to it or my genes. So that will be a mystery forever. But yeah.
Yeah. So, talking about Dr. Namita, it's very interesting because it must have been a tough life here, if you
What?
think of it, because here you have a genius who forgets her. So, did she talk more about him as a person? Because
I
possibly,
think she was a person who was extremely supportive to whoever was around her. And she was a strong lady herself. She wasn't like a dependent. She did her studies also in the UK with him. So at that day and age, to be going to the UK as a lady and studying and coming back and becoming a professor in history, I don't think she wasn't a flimsy maiden who was dependent on her husband. She was soft spoken, but it didn't make her any less strong. She was a nice human being, but not to be misled as somebody who's a pushover. So I think she was independent, which kind of also gave license to Dr. Mukherjee to kind of to do what he wanted and to pursue what he wanted to do. She had a life of her own. And I remember getting advice from her of, you need to stay fit, and, no matter how old you are, you need to also be self-dependent. And, I come from a Marwari family where girls are taught to be, good marriageable material and not really independent women. But yeah, I was blessed with influences like her, and yeah, of course, some of my aunts and my grandmothers weren't really the submissive types. So I think she really did. She wasn't like waiting around for him. She would have loved to have him around because he used to like listening to music, and they used to do that in the evenings. So my parents do talk about the fact that when they would leave, there was music in that house, and when he would come, he'd be humming some songs and Rabindra Sangeet, and he wasn't really a stooge either. He used to laugh often, and I think. I don't think they complained to each other too much. That generation, anyways, did. There was no marriage counseling at that time. So I think, the fact that they were both individuals, and that yeah, I mean, you're married to a genius, so you're married to a genius. I mean, at the end of the day, you're still home cooking and eating and enjoying conversation. So
yeah,
she came out
yeah,
like that. She really did.
yeah.
Uh, she didn't rue the fact that there weren't kids, or she was never. I don't think she had a bitter bone or bitter cell. Bone to bahut bada ho jata hai. I don't think she had a bitter cell in her to, and she met my daughter. I had the privilege of, taking my daughter when she was 6 months old to Calcutta, and she was bedridden, but she got a warm hug from my daughter, and you know how kids are, they'll kind of melt your heart at that moment. And she felt like she had a granddaughter. So I just rue the fact that, when you're a teenager and when you're young, you don't think you need to keep these relationships up. So if there are regrets that I have is about not meeting her, Dr. Anand Kumar and Sunit Mukherjee often enough. I mean,
Yeah.
they were around, right, when I was growing up. There is no, I think unfortunately, wisdom comes with gray hair, and that's not nice. But yeah,
Yeah.
it is how it is.
So did she ever speak to you about, the trauma that he underwent? There must be such a high to have a success,
Yeah.
which with your birth and even just the conception and to be called by CBS television, so many, and then this whole thing happened with all this chaos and stuff. Was she silent about it, or did she ever talk to you when you grew up, or
So she was,
what
they were
talk to your
always, I
parents?
think, yeah, both, I think both Dr. Mukherjee and and Mrs. Mukherjee, I think they just felt cheated in that sense to, that a human being was taken out of their life. This is a best friend and a husband we are talking about, not just scientists. So I think we forget that, yes, I think geniuses and scientists, they work for the community, but we forget that they are human beings and have relationships themselves. Uh, I think that's not right. She was the only times I've seen tears in her eyes and them, literally crying, both of them, have been times when, why was he taken away from us for doing a good thing? And they've never really questioned his work. They've never really, how can you, everything's okay. They weren't looking for awards, rewards, money. That they could have got, they could have left the country. That was available. I mean, for both of them, all of them, in fact. But they were just not, they just didn't feel right with their reputation at stake. I mean, that's low hitting, I think, to say that, we'll discredit you rather than try to, if you were to debate with him on, and I'm sure he would have been able to, prove a lot of things if there was an intellectual debate. And I think if somebody would have told him intellectually or technically there was something wrong, he would have even taken it. But the fact that the attack was on him as a person and them as people, I think that's a little low. And being from a scientific, and they were both scholars at the end of the day, and for the scholarly world, the written word is enough, right? And then to do that to them and to two unassuming people who just wanted a child, to the whole set of them, it was literally like we didn't even think that was a possibility. So in all the things that you prepare for, right? I mean, when you're doing things like this, obviously you're not prepared. To say that he was a genius and that he wasn't prepared is fooling ourselves. I don't think he was prepared for a personal assault. To say that you're a crook, and that was something unthinkable. I mean, if they wanted to be crooks, they could have done that all their lives, right? I mean, why choose this moment? So to them, unfortunately, a good movement turned bitter very, very fast. uh, I am just blessed that my birthday didn't become like that. It's unfortunately for them, it was hugely bitter. And for you to crawl out of that and still give love to something that you created, that it's okay, it doesn't matter what people say. They were really, really mature human beings, including Dr. Anand Kumar. When he realized it, the one tear that I've seen, I don't think anybody's seen a tear in the man's eyes. He was like, when I met him at Habitat, I think it was, and I'll never forget that because he came out as a very stern, very, a manly person, of the world. And he told me that, oh, Subhash didn't know how to handle the international community and the doctors and the scientists. And, this is the training that we need to give our people. And, brains people have, but they don't know how to manage the community. And he was known, why did he not do it? But the only tear that I saw was his regret of saying that, but personal attacks, why do we need to do? So I think somewhere in this, this competition, it should get the best out of us. But the fact that it somewhere, rubs us the wrong way, uh, if anything, I think this story should bring out those human aspects as well, not just for the especially for the scientific community. I think there were enough people saying, I remember Sunit Mukherjee saying, when the Nobel Prize happened, we got a flurry. I got a flurry of comments and mails and things like that, that this should have belonged to. And I told Sunit Mukherjee that, oh, Keshav Puche, a lot of things are coming. He says, where were they all when we needed to to uplift him? And I think those kind of things are not nice. That why does a genius hold? I think everybody on this call, being a scientist, needs that support. So you don't have to support just the geniuses. Uh, But yeah, when a genius comes along, it's not easy to accept. But I think we should try that.
I think you've made a very pertinent point that it's not just your profession, but the human that you are. And that is important. And I do remember, when we were going through the documents of Dr. Subhash Mukherjee, that at some point of time in his junior level, he was not accepted for some promotion. And he made a nice table comparing his work with the whoever was promoted from simplest of things like attendance, papers published, a very detailed chart for something which was very trivial. So he knew how to argue and fight out his case. But like you say, the personal attacks. And a very relevant point, because I always wondered now, whenever I go to meetings and somewhere you'll find people, a lot of people, especially from that era and that location, telling us, oh, we worked with Dr. Subhash Mukherjee, we worked with Dr. Subhash Mukherjee. And you wonder that, okay, they were scared at that time, what happened to him would happen to them. But 78 to 86, okay, Harsha was born. Still, IVF was not accepted. But then you were in 92, 93, 94, nearly 18 years later, nobody spoke up. And after it is, they all become, his colleagues and they worked with him. So I guess it just
So, but I guess
quite
courage is not
obvious.
easy. Courage is not easy. I don't keep it against anyone, and neither does my
It's
family,
very nice.
nor did Sunit Mukherjee for that matter,
No,
because
no,
it's not
doctor.
easy to be courageous in a field which is, you know, and when I'm looking at Dr. Shavuni's presentation, and when you all talk about it, I'm like, nothing's changed in 40 years, has it? So I've seen very few changes from when I was born. So uh, it is not easy to decode these things, and there are decades which go by, and to get your life, and there are scientists who I'm sure who are working at something which they know that they will not see result in their lifetimes, and humanity needs to be proud of those guys, because they're stepping stones which will lead to and I'm sure, and even and Dr. Mukherjee said it at all times. I think Dr. Namita told me many times that he believed that none of these big breakthroughs were possible without group work. If there was things that he couldn't solve, his problem was not being able to solve something. His problem was not wanting to solve something so badly that he'll do anything to get it. But if he couldn't solve something, he would seek out help. That he would go to someone, or he would lean on someone, and to get that knowledge in, and then how could he connect the dots to kind of make it solve a problem that the world had. His students tell me the same thing, but I think that piece goes missing. That the fact that people believe that by cooperating, you are actually diluting your own worth. And I don't think any problems can be solved in today's day and age without cooperating and without collaborating. It's impossible to turn around and say, and somebody asked me this question, I think somebody, I can't remember who, some journalist or somebody maybe, that, he was an endocrinologist. Why did your parents go to him? He wasn't a gynecologist. I was like, do you please realize that time they used to go to physicians? They used to not go to specialists. That's, somebody told me that, something had happened to his hand and he went to a hand orthopedic. I was like, oh my God, like, specialization is needed. I agree. But I think, from what he did, and Dr. Shabuni has put that up, right? I mean, he was solving problems and he was doing things which were not in his field. And specialists shouldn't feel bad if some generalist comes by or some other specialist comes by and does something which accentuates their field. Because it's just a different way of looking at it. He could look at it from a different lens. Um, so I think, yeah, sometimes it's good to collaborate. It's good to lean on other people. If we don't, I don't think these kind of things would have happened. Dr. Sunit Mukherjee used to constantly say that he was the genius. I just knew little bit things. I said, if you didn't freeze me, I wouldn't be here, right? So I think, the fact that little parts make a whole, and you never know which two things need to lean on each other to make the triangle, right? So uh, uh, those things are really life lessons that I get from every time I meet you guys.
Yeah, you talk about his ability to trust, his ability to take a leap of faith, his confidence, his humility, his ability to collaborate, which is so essential, which you possibly have been a student of management and you must have been taught this. And we wonder how this man, a scientist, was actually
Yeah.
very good at handling people, except for the frailty of human emotions trying to bring him down. Anything else that you would like to share about him? Because I know Dr. Sunit Mukherjee, and it was, a man 87, 88 years old and really struggling. I mean, it was quite chilling when you see tears in his eyes, and all he wanted at that age. He had nothing apart from that in his life, kind of that. Why was he called a liar? And he had sort of lost trust, but at the same time, he had a lot of faith that somebody will take care of this. So he also said that, there were so many documents, people have come and taken it. They promised me this, they promised me that, and documents have gone missing. And you possibly would have definitely heard the story where he was writing his paper, that Dr. Subhash Mukherjee was writing his paper, and, when he committed suicide, and that paper disappeared. So it's such a conflict of emotions, of trust on one hand, and the whole the cheating on the other. uh, Dr. Sunit Mukherjee is a very important person in this entire thing, because if he wouldn't have struggled to keep this alive, the story would have gone that point itself, because obviously your parents were not in that field or able to do it, and possibly they didn't even realize. Do you think your parents knew what was going on in his life in this all these struggles? Very unlikely, right?
No, I don't think he shared. He was a private person in that sense. He didn't unburden on other people. And it was a doctor-patient relationship in that sense.
Okay.
So yes, he was, for him, he was solving a problem for my parents and not giving them a problem. So I don't think he ever looked at it like that. Uh, so he obviously didn't talk about it. I think, just asked that, would you all be comfortable in doing this? And if my parents said no at that stage, he said, fine,
Okay.
you don't have to be part of it at all. You don't have to do things which you're not comfortable with. So I think he respected that in human beings. And I think Dr. Sunit Mukherjee, on the other hand, he he's also you knew him, so you knew that he was a very sweet, soft spoken. He was a professor uh, who, again, facts mattered to him, and data mattered to him. And he was soft spoken, and very, very unassuming, and they underpitched themselves, in this day and age of what do I call it? Insta celebrities, where everybody wants a piece of being a celebrity, no matter how they get it. Uh, that was an era which didn't really have that many heroes other than film stars and politicians, I think. And people were okay with that. And he walked into a world very rapidly where, that changed. And he wasn't very good at it. And all he wanted to do is clear his friend's name. And it was a simple task for him that, if I don't do it in my lifetime, nobody else will. And he was acutely aware of that responsibility. So if he ever came in front of a camera, or went up to a stadium, or did anything of that sort, it was purely to do that, to clear his friend's name. That's it. They wanted nothing else than, and this is an era where, if you didn't get political tick marks, it didn't matter if, 100 of your friends you were, Insta worthy for. I'm just sad that that didn't happen for them. I don't believe in that. The structure of society, whether it's politics or it's medicine or whatever, needs to be the approver. But for that generation, it mattered. The written word still had more than what they felt inside. I have been blessed enough with not having gone through that life emotion, if I can call it that. I've not gone through any strong life emotions. I've had a very Siddha Sadha sweet life. Blessed with all around. Nobody has ever come and asked a weird question. If they ever have, I've just looked at them extremely quizzically that, I didn't even understand when they asked me a weird question. So I've never really felt uncomfortable. And, people ask me sometimes these weird questions like, how do you feel? And I'm like, okay, today I'm feeling hot. Like, I don't know what they mean, because my parents, my family, nobody ever put me through all of that. But the piece that they went through, that eye of the needle that they went through, obviously scarred them. And then you do behave differently a little bit. And I'm just, honestly speaking, worried that that's not happened for them. If they are, and I am nobody to say that, science and religion and cosmos don't coexist. So what if they are looking down, or what if, they are, unfulfilled souls or whatever it is, or even just a learning for the rest of the world, that itself should help, right? But to me, the reason why I did support, and I would love to, if me coming out talking or whatever helps in getting them those two tick marks, which is, A, from the community worldwide, and B, from the governments, and C, from, kids who are learning. A lot of times I see that, that his name is not in the history books, or when science is taught in science institutes, shouldn't Dr. Mukherjee's name be there? We grow up learning Edison's name, why not his name? So I think that would be a loss, if I can call it that, and yeah, I think he just wanted to see that in his lifetime. Didn't happen. Uh, I should work a little harder on this. I keep telling myself to get his name clear, to use my good offices to kind of go after the prime minister, I guess. But yeah, I do that. I mean, I'm not pro or anti getting more kids or IVF. I mean, it's what I'm pro of is choices, though. I think what it gave the world is a choice. I like that. I like the fact that the science gave choice for humans to kind of be a mom when they want to, not want to. It's fine. It's not about and it gave people a way to solve problems. I love what Dr. Shabuni put out. He did, and everything has a reason. It's not that he did science for the sake of science. I keep teasing my husband, who's done a bit of physics, to say that, oh, what will the black hole give us? Let's see what this will give us. So I think, yeah, I think that's why he was. He wanted to just clear his friend's name and to get those 3 ticks.
Yeah, thanks. If it wasn't for him, I say nobody would have known about you.
Absolutely.
I remember how much he was pestering Dr. Anand Kumar, literally.
Yeah.
And he would say, oh my God, this man has come again. What should we do? And then again, and then he said, now I'm tired of going to Calcutta, keep talking the same thing. But it is because of those strong emotions that this happened. So I think we'll call it a day. It has been wonderful. And I think we learned a lot. And I think as Ace, rather than calling you India's first IVF baby or world's second IVF baby, I think we can just rephrase the same information as the world's first IVF baby, born out of a frozen embryo. I think it's just the same thing, and it doesn't really matter to anybody, but it's how history looks at it. So, oh, first baby born from a frozen embryo in the world sounds quote unquote better than the second IVF baby or something like that. So I think all these things, and what we're really learning is science is not just about the individual. I mean, we know it because all of us who have gone through our PhDs, we've had all our, I always say you learn more about handling people apart from the scientific techniques, which are anyway changing. So thank you, Kanupriya, for spending the time and sharing and, getting us to know more about the person, because I think you also see it from a different perspective because you are not directly connected, because parents or Dr. Sumit Mukherjee already have their emotions filled up, but you're seeing it from a very different perspective about, scientists as a community and the human society and behavior. So that's it from my end. I'm sure people would have questions, but I do not know. So over
I'll
to
be,
you,
I
Bindu.
have the time if you all will have the time if
Okay.
somebody has a question or whatever.
Okay. So there is somebody who has said,
There's
Hello,
one
Mr.
in the
Gupte.
chat
Nice to
box.
see you.
Hello, how are you?
I am well. I hope to see you soon.
Yes, what a wonderful hour I have spent. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your patience in hearing me out.
yeah.
What a speaker you are.
No,
You
you're the
told my
story.
heart.
So there is a question. I have a question about the days apart. Google says 67 days apart from the world's first IVF baby. But if you look into 1978 calendar and Mrs. Kanupriya Agarwal was born on October 5th, then it is not 69 days apart. I have had this question since last year. Anybody counted it? Bindu, Manisha? Maybe somebody can calculate. And anyway, what Google says doesn't mean it is right. I think Kanupriya's parents know exactly when the transfer was done. I'm sure it's a moment they'll never forget. And she definitely knows her birth date. So I think we should go by what is said and not what Google says. I think that's what I would say, because Google says a lot of things, and I think most of our community here are, we don't know how to handle the Google Baba educated patients. It's another art by itself. So anybody else, and she's open to questions, you can unmute yourself or put it in the chat box.
Hi, Shavuni.
Hi, Kanu. How are you doing?
I am well. It's so good to see you.
Yes, nice to see you. We need to
Must
catch
visit
up.
your institute, huh? I must come down. I've not done that yet.
Please
I
come down,
must come
please.
down. I must. I'll do that. I'll catch up with you and Dr. Rajvi, and we'll fix it up for a nice coffee there.
Sure. You
Yeah,
must
any
visit.
questions? Yeah, I think Manisha wants to ask something. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Kanupriya. It was such an enlightening and emotional journey. And always remember one thing: it's a bulb which reminds us Edison every day. And we need to see you more often. We feel privileged working in the same, we can say that we are continuing the same legacy, and we feel so proud. And it is such an emotional moment. You must be bored by same questions again and again.
No, I'm not. I love hearing you guys. So
But
yeah,
the
I'll come.
way you were depicting a journey of IVF child, IVF is still believed as a taboo in India after so many years. So such open conversation and this conversation was carrying so many messages. So I'm really grateful to you for such open discussion, and
I'm
we would
humbled.
love to
Thank
see
you.
you more often.
Oh,
Actually,
no, that definitely. We'll set up. When I come next, I'll call you.
thank you.
If I may ask a question, first of all, it has been a wonderful experience seeing you here, even if virtually, Miss Kanupriya, and what a wonderful journey it has been for you as well. And I must say, apart from being a very grounded individual, you are a very sorted individual, and in a very succinct and I mean wonderful manner you have discussed everything. So
I'll write it
I
up
just
to my genes and my education that my parents put me through. So thank you for that.
About to
Thank you
say.
so
yeah, and
much.
like
About to say.
I'm a very unscientific statement that we all make, that IVF babies are more intelligent. So,
No.
well, of course, it is the genes, your upbringing, everything, but probably that you have passed through the hands of a genius also. And I have just one question. Um, did your husband
Hmm.
or your daughter now, who is about 12 years old, I guess,
Yes, yes.
how did they think about it, or especially your daughter? And did it never occur to you also as a child what a test tube baby must be? How were
Yeah,
you
of course it
in a
did.
test tube, and
And we made fun
has
of
your
it.
daughter taken it?
Uh, so my daughter wonders why I'm not. So she's 12. A preteen will always be in the Insta generation. So she wonders why I don't talk about it more and why I'm not as famous as a film star. Uh, and why, so for her, the whole thing is about fame and why I'm not using it to get the fame. And there's this aunt of mine who constantly tell me, oh, you're not getting ahead in this line. We're standing in a line to check into a flight, and they'll say, oh, just say you're the first test tube baby. I'm like, how will that matter to us checking into a flight? You know, so I'm like, I don't think why should that matter? Okay, so they'll constantly pull my leg on and start talking me on to those kind of things, or say, oh, can I tell my friend? I'm like, yeah, go ahead, tell them. How does it matter? So I think because my parents took it as a way of life, because I grew up with it as a way of life. And we weren't made special, like just because I grew up in a joint family with 13 other kids. So I didn't get an extra cherry because I happened to come through a test tube baby. So it didn't matter. Okay. I did have scientific questions that, and once I did biology in school, that's when we don't have the sex talk with our kids, right? In good households like Marwari houses like mine. So when I did realize, of course, I had these questions, which I asked my parents, and they replied that, yeah, Papa didn't have this and Mama didn't have this, and that's why we had to do it outside, and then they put it inside. So it worked out. I was like, yeah, okay, fine, it did. So it happened like that. Did I think it was weird to be in a test tube? I didn't make fun of it, and I did use it as an excuse sometimes. But that's only with my parents. Coming to my husband, did he know? Yeah, there was, journalism, and I had to kind of, um, go for some of these things. And my mother-in-law was very excited and happy the first time she found out, and there were some journalists coming to take my interview and things like that. And I said, "Do you want to be a part of it?" And she said, "No, no, I don't think I can talk like you in English." But it's never come in my way actually. We've not let it get into our heads, because I honestly mean what I said. I don't think it can get it. It's not my achievement. So I feel proud of being part of a community and to carry on the legacy. But you all honestly carry on much more of that legacy by using the same methods that he did, and by making it a way of life and bringing it to so many more people. You all carry the legacy. I was just advantaged to have family and friends who understood. I think. So yeah, it never felt weird. My daughter knows. Yes, she knows. She's been in and out of this call as well. She's been around. I'm taking this call from home. My husband knows, and for us, it's a normal day.
So very articulate in your thoughts as well. And it's good to be grounded. It's good to be humble, but sometimes it's also very good to graciously accept and be proud that you are a celebrity.
Of course.
We all are proud of you.
Thank
And uh, are there any more questions?
Yes, ma'am. There are few, but not very significant. If we have time, can we take up those?
I
Like
don't mind. I mean,
embryologist Chandan wanted to know some very that Miss Kanupriya, have you ever thought of you want to become an embryologist? Because
oh
you
my, I don't think I'm intelligent enough.
oh,
No,
come
but I
on.
think
Oh, come on.
I honestly would have, I would have, I think wanted to be related to a science field and to help people and be a doctor on some day. But I think my teenage years came in the middle. So my teenage hormones actually made me revolt at that stage when I had to choose between science and commerce. All my teachers felt I should take science because I had the 90 percentages required. So everybody assumed that I would take up science. My father assumed, because everybody assumed I didn't take up science. So I said that no, I'm not going to take it up because everybody thinks I can do this, so I'll do something else.
Wonderful.
It kind of, I wasn't as well spoken as I am today in those days. So I developed that. It's an acquired skill, which anybody can acquire, I believe. Education and debating in school led to it. But could I have been an embryologist and working as hard as you all do and being so detail oriented? And I don't know. Today, I don't think I can. But yeah, 20 years ago, 30 years
It was
ago,
just
maybe.
about the learning the process through which you were conceived and made history.
Oh, I think I actually went through that. I sat with somebody who took me through the process.
Uh-huh.
What you all do is it's so detailed, and so much, concentration is required at that time, and then to check your results and to come back to it and everything. There are so many heartbreaks because all of it doesn't result in an action that you all wanted to. So honestly, the amount of patience that you all need, I don't think I have it anymore. But when I think,
Do
yeah, I did go through not as a patient, but as a scientific person, seeing through the Dr. Anand Kumar also took me through some slides. And later on, I did do it through some of the scientists who I met through Dr. Sunit Mukherjee in the lab. So it was fun. That this is
okay.
what they did, and this is what happened, and this is the test tube, and this is the nitrogen chamber, and this is
You
where
know
I
so
thawed
much.
you, and this is what happened. So yeah, I did go through.
That's fantastic. And another question, very quickly, I'll take. Have you met other IVF conceived people who has been shared their stories with you, and what was?
Yes. So actually, when people find out that I am, then suddenly it all comes pouring out. Then we don't really advertise it. We don't really talk about it. That's not the first thing I say. I don't introduce myself as such. But when people find out, I've had people from all walks of life. So starting with when people find out, whenever some post comes up in regular media, uh, somebody will walk up to me in office, somebody who I possibly don't know or I've known for a long time. Oh, did you know we also have an IVF baby? Or did you know, my wife is going through this and it's been so heartbreaking, or it's such a joy now we've got a child of our own, and and their stories come in. I'm just have to be a patient listener at that point. And oh, did you face any? And I was like, okay, before you ask me, I've had my colds, I've had my problems, but they are environmental. I didn't inherit anything from the test tube. So I think that's all I tell them. But yeah, I think their stories come out. A lot of people have wanted to do. I've met writers who've had IVF children and who want to write my story, or so many walks of life. And yes, it's I do tell them that let your children know when they're children, so that it doesn't either get into them, or it starts becoming weird. When children are innocent, anything you tell them flies. Society has no pressure.
The next question is from Dr. Sharda Kesh. It is directed more towards Rajvi ma'am. I think she has congratulated for this fantastic meeting, and she wanted to know, has international community also accepted that Kanupria is the second test tube baby?
I think so, because Roger Gosden, in his biography about Professor Edwards, has actually written about it. He's mentioned Dr. Subhash Mukherjee, and he personally told me that he couldn't write more because, as per his records, Professor Edwards had not met Dr. Subhash Mukherjee. So yes, it has been accepted. Brazilian community, am I right, Shrabani, has even awarded him for his achievements in IVF. So it's well documented now and well accepted.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Documented and accepted, but not yet awarded by the government, probably.
Right.
Okay, I think this line by that Ms. Kanupriya said, that I'm not a trophy, but proud to be the living example of the work of a genius. It says it all. Yes, we are not going to celebrate an individual as being the first IVF baby, just that, but much more than that. You are the living example of how scientific people work and will continue to do so. And therefore, I would just like to say, an artist dies, but his creation lives on forever. And who better than Kanupriya as a living example of that? And with that, I would just, if there are no more things to be said, we would move towards the last segment. That is, I would like to invite Dr. Manisha Vajpayee to propose a vote of thanks for this wonderful, it has been a very enriching, very different kind of an academic event today. And many thanks to Academy of Clinical Embryologists to think about this and to come out with this event on the precise date on which we had planned to do it. So everything worked out well. Everyone was available for it. So it has been a wonderful experience. Thanks, Dr. Rajvi, for making me a part of it. And now over to Dr. Manisha for the formal vote of thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. Actually, the greatest truths are often born in silence and recognized only by time. Today has been a deeply emotional and unforgettable experience for all of us as we came together to honor Dr. Subhash Mukherjee, the brilliant scientist, the man behind India's world first frozen embryo birth. Through his groundbreaking work, which was dismissed in his time, today his legacy stands tall, scientifically profound and deeply human. And today's conversation made that legacy come alive emotionally, scientifically, and historically. It was more than a tribute. It was a moment of connection between past and present, between silent sacrifice and loud acknowledgement. A heartfelt and very special thanks to you, Ms. Kanupriya Agarwal, the living embodiment of the legacy. Your presence means more than words can express. You remind us that every embryo has a story and sometimes a revolution. Thank you for sharing your journey so openly and so touchingly. It has inspired us all and people at large too. We got to know Dr. Subhash Mukherjee not as a scientist, but as a human as well, and his struggle, which were still unknown. We need more to talk about it, and thanks for giving us time. Our deep gratitude to Dr. Shrabani Mukherjee for beautifully narrating Dr. Mukherjee's life, his vision, his struggle, his rare manuscripts, and lasting contribution. You brought us closer to his spirit. We were amazed to see how visionary he was as he contributed so much in science beyond reproductive medicine. We sincerely thank our President of ACE, Dr. Sujata Ramakrishnan, ma'am, and Vice President, Dr. Gaurav Majumdar, for their constant encouragement and support. To our Dynamic Secretary, Dr. Parasuram Gopinath, thank you for your warm welcome and steady presence. Your support means a lot. A quiet note of appreciation to those who thoughtfully conceptualized and shared this tribute with care and purpose. To Dr. Rajvi Mehta, thank you, ma'am, for leading and conducting this session with such a depth and clarity. Dr. Bindu, ma'am, our sincere thanks for your seamless comparing, and a special thanks to our backend team and to Ms. Aarti and our entire ACE team. Thank you for your tireless effort for making this event a success, for spreading the word. And finally, to all our ACE members and all viewers, thank you for being part of this journey, for drawing inspiration from it and carrying forward the legacy that changed the course of reproductive science in India. A seed buried in darkness still grows towards light. Let us never stop believing in that light. Thank you, and very good evening to all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
This is live screen on YouTube. So if any of you have missed it or want your friends to see it, you can go to the ACE YouTube channel. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Bye.
What a
Kanupria.
fruitful evening it has been.
Seriously. But we need more your presence, Kanupriya. It'll mean a lot because people know more about the life of IVF babies, and you can be a torchbearer.
I'll
Thank
be
you.
honored. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye, everybody.